where does validation seeking come from with men when it comes to seeking validation from women and the relationships they interact in? Well, validation seeking is basically predicated on the fact that you are trying to use some external object in order to fill your sense of self. What this means is that at some point during your childhood development, you acquired the sensation and the feeling and the understanding and the belief that in some way that you are unworthy. And ultimately, this goes down to an unworthiness of love. Now, this validation seeking behavior is really a behavior that we learned originally from our caretakers, and more specifically from our primary caretaker, or in most cases, this would have been our mother or the individual who we would have had to have looked to for the consistent dependency for getting our needs met regarding emotional intimacy during those childhood development stages. Now, the reason that this is so important is because you are able to now look back at the relationship that you had with your mother and maybe some of those early women in your life, if it was an aunt or a grandmother as well, and see what ways did you receive and give love in those relationships and what were those relationships like. In many cases, a lot of children end up becoming the fixer for their parent, trying to help them to fix their emotional wounds in order to get their own needs met, right? In some cases, there are some abusive fathers, so women tend to go to their children to try and use them as some sort of emotional escape from that abusive relationship, and the children end up becoming some sort of caretaker for the mother. In these cases, there is a unhealthy form of enmeshment, and that means that there are boundaries that then have been crossed in the emotional intimacy between mother and child. And in this case, the child learns a certain type of strategy in order to cope with these really intense emotions that they are not able to deal with at the time. Now, these emotional relationships, this validation seeking can play its way in a lot of different ways throughout life. And one of the ways in which it plays in women in relationships is through validation seeking in forms of codependency, reaching out to women all the time to try and figure out where you stand with them, right? And this is also the classic nice guy. The nice guy is basically a people pleaser. He's out there trying to constantly please others in order to make himself feel good. Whereas it's really important to take a step back and realize that this validation comes from a very, very deep emotional wound inside of yourself. Now, how do we begin to start working with this emotional wound? Well, one of the best ways about going about doing that is to develop a healthy sense of self. So what that means is being selfish. It is okay to be selfish. It is not okay to be narcissistic. It is not okay to hurt other people. It is okay to be selfish. It is okay to fill up your own cup, to bring down your own oxygen mask before you help another individual. And being selfish could be as little as, while you're in a relationship, going out and doing something that you like to do, as opposed to always going out with your lover, or going out and having a weekend with your buddies, or going on a solo retreat for 3 or 4 days out in the woods to just be alone and be by yourself, as opposed to constantly needing that you need to be there for this other individual in order to get your own self-worth met. Now, the reason this is so important in the context of relationships is that because if you are constantly seeking validation from women, they're not going to find that attractive. Okay, at first it may seem a little bit flattery, they may like that extra attention, but in the long run, seeking from women is actually going to end up turning them off and cause the fear inside of you, the fear of abandonment, the fear that they're going to leave you, to become a reality, because you are constantly looking to them to create your sense of self-worth. So what that means is that it is so important that before you get into a relationship, or if you're in a relationship, to establish a very fun and healthy life without your romantic partner in it. That means that you're able to wake up and feel confident and happy. And if your partner's there, great. And if they're not, you're indifferent about that as well. So this validation seeking can be healed through creating a fun-filled life, and also to really reconnect with those deep emotional wounds that we carry inside of ourselves surrounding unworthiness, surrounding shame, surrounding feeling unwanted, and learning how to cultivate that love for yourself and learning how to be gentle with yourself. And that really is the essence of what it means to be a gentle man. If you need help with any of this work, my name is Christopher Linkenbach, and I am a relationship coach here in Austin, Texas, and I work with clients all over the world. If you would like to schedule a coaching call, you can click the link in the description below. And if you felt like you gained any value from this video, you can also donate on my website, becomingagentleman.love. And if you would please like and subscribe, it would really help this channel to grow. I will catch you all in the next one. All right, peace.